シャリホン約善男子善女人門税処分諸専名牛教名者税所善男子善女人海一切処分具象5年海徳不退転大阿のくたら三脈三母大とFrom the Amida Kyo, it states the following. Shariputra, it is because if good men or good women hear the name of Amida expounded by the various Buddhas and the name of this sutra, then those good men or women will be protected by all the Buddhas and dwell in the stage of non-retrogression for attaining the supreme perfect enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you very much. That was from the smaller sutra or the Amida Kyo. So today we did something a little bit different. First, before I begin, Yamada-san, thank you very much for arranging the gatha. It was very beautiful. So thank you very much. Today we did the wasang. It's a little bit of a different chant, but these wasang were composed by Shinran Shonin. And then you might have noticed that we kept saying Namo Amida Butsu over and over and over again. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. But the reason why is that it's supposed to signify that we perpetually say this, that the Buddhas throughout the 10 quarters perpetually say and praise the name of Amida Buddha. And that's why it continually goes on. And then so in between in between those, the Nembutsu is the wasang and that we chant. And so there are hundreds of these wasang that were gathas that were composed by, or verses that were composed by Shinran Shonin himself. And we do this chant along with the Shoshinge every morning, or ideally, this is how the services are done in Japan. Okay, thank you very much. March is the time of Ohigan, when there will be the spring, or this is the spring equinox. So the length of the day and the length of the night are said to be equal, and the weather is the fairest during this time. So it happens twice in a year. It's once in the spring and again in the fall. And apparently this Buddhist tradition is unique to Japanese culture, unique to Japanese Buddhism. And during this time of year, because the weather is fair, it's easy for people to kind of come to the services and participate in these services. So Ohigan, Ohigan, if you drop the O because the O is an honorific, Higan means other shore. So it's the honorific form, and then it says other shore, Higan. And then Shigan is this shore. It means this side of the shore. So we go from the world of delusion to the world of Pure Land, from the world of Shigan to the world of Higan. Okay, so that is what Ohigan means. When we open our hearts and receive Amida Buddha's calling voice, we are prompted to move forward on the path to the other shore. Okay, so there are a couple of pictures that I'd like to show you now. Let's see. First one is this one. Can everybody see this picture? Okay, this is a picture of Lady Takiko Kujo. It just so happens that there was a Tenji exhibition on her when I was in Japan, so I got this pamphlet. It's a very nice pamphlet of her. It's at Ryukoku Museum in 2017. But that is her, and I would like to show you one more picture. Actually, let me explain Lady Takiko Kujo. She lived from 1887 to 1928, and she passed away at the age of 42. 42. And during that time, she was instrumental in the creation and participation in so many activities. She was an author, she was a poet, she was a writer, she was a painter. She did everything. She helped to organize the institution that would later be known as Kyoto Joshi Daigaku, or Kyoto Women's University in Kyoto. She created the Fujinkai, or the precursor of the Buddhist Women's Organization or Association. She also helped to create the Asoka Hospital in Tokyo. And she was also a philanthropist. And finally, she helped in the reconstruction of Tokyo after the Great Kanto earthquake that decimated the new capital. So it is in this effort to help the people in that affected area that she contracted an illness that took her life. And so she's greatly remembered as one of the most influential women, not only within the Honganji, but in Japanese history at this time. And her story should be celebrated by all of us as proud Jodo Shinshu Buddhists. Okay, so I would like to show you one more picture. Okay, so Lady Yoshiko Otani, who lived from 1918 to 2000, and she was the honorary president of the Honganji Buddhist Women's Association and the Honpa Honganji Association of Nursery Schools. She is the author of the book entitled Eshinni, The Wife of Shinran, which was written in 1980, and it was later translated into English by the late Taitetsu Unno. And she also erected a monument for Eshinni-sama, and she formally chronicled Eshinni-sama's life. And she also has written a few other books in Japanese as well. She's credited to have widely reinvigorated the Buddhist Women's Association in Japan and also overseas as well. Okay, so this is the memorial for these two figures. Okay, so I think it's wonderful that we have women who are our leaders and role models in this religion. Not a lot of religions can say they have prominent women figures in their tradition. So I'm very proud of the fact that we have been doing this as a religious school for many, many years. Their lives serve as inspirations for us to follow as Nembutsu practitioners. So as mentioned before, during Ohigan, the length of the day and night is equal, creating a unique balance between the weather that is calm and fair. From this, I should try and understand that it is because of the night that I can understand the significance of day, and it is because of the day that I can understand the significance of night. And understanding both sides allows me to live on this side with a sense of balance and in calmness and tranquility. I think for me, life would be great if we could find the perfect kind of balance between everything. We're taught this in school when we have to find the balance in our schoolwork and sports, or between the different subjects we have to study, or the time between studying and extracurricular activities, or studying and socializing, right? When we become adults, we have to balance our checkbooks, right? Something I cannot do for the life of me. We also have to balance between work and home life, work and our children, or work and our spouses. These things are also something I'm not good at. We also have to make money and earn a living, but we can't make so much that we have no family or friends because we spend all of our time worrying about work and money. We want to care for others, but we can't be so giving of the self that we end up giving all of ourselves, right? And on the other hand, we want to focus on this self, but we can't focus on it so much that we end up neglecting the people closest to us. So we have to balance between our friends, between our enemies, the people we like and the people we don't like, right? We have to balance between our personal lives and our professional lives. We are constantly trying to balance. And the thing about this is that finding that balance, that sweet spot, is kind of like hitting a moving target, because the older we get, we get different interests, right? We get more experience, or we have different needs and different wants. So of course, that balance is going to be different over time, or maybe even from moment to moment, right? Finding that balance. So balance is a very tricky thing to find, I think, in life. From a Jodo Shinshu perspective, us being able to find that perfect balance in life is next to impossible, or if not outright impossible. And this is because, as I mentioned earlier, the perfect balance is a moving target. It is a moving target because our attachments are always going to keep us wanting more, something new, wanting something different, wanting something better, right? Always more, this, that, right? If this goes unchecked, it can actually destroy us. So finding perfect balance is kind of an illusion in a sense, right? We will always be chasing it like we chase our other attachments or dreams or wants. We will never be satisfied in our search for balance. Balance becomes the attachment. A case in point that I kind of want to talk about is climate change. We've gotten to the point on a collective human scale that our capitalistic society and corporate greed keeps us from understanding and seeing the negative impact we are having on the world. As we want more and more and more, we are using up the earth's resources. We are not preserving, we are not saving, we are not caring for the following generations to come. Why? Well, because of blind passions, our collective whole is attachments to the self and our selfish needs. You know, there's that phrase, everyone has a price. You know, I firmly believe this to be the case. And that is because of blind passions. We are the bombu who is unable to rid our blind passions. This is the situation that we find ourselves within. Shinran Shonin is so honest with himself. His self-criticism is really refreshing, actually. He states the following, quote, "We are filled with all manner of greed, anger, perversity, deceit, wickedness, and cunning, and it is difficult to put an end to our evil nature. In this, we are like poisonous snakes or scorpions," end quote. He explains that this is what it means to be a bombu, a person filled with blind passions. But then he goes on to then explain that that is exactly why the Nembutsu teaching is provided for us. All we have to do is simply be open to listening with earnest intent to this teaching of Amida Buddha's great compassion. In other words, Amida Buddha's great compassion gives us spiritual balance in our lives. So how does Amida Buddha do this? Well, I'd like to give you an example that might help to explain the Nembutsu teaching and how it balances us. Hope you can see this. So imagine you have an illness, but the doctor told you that there is a really good medicine that will treat your illness. That doctor prescribes you the medicine. Well, you have no idea if in fact the medicine will work or not, but you trust what the doctor has told you, and you trust the medicine will do its job to treat your illness. And the illness you have is one of being caught in a state of suffering due to blind passions. And the doctor is Shakyamuni Buddha, who tells you that there is a really good medicine, right? And to take that medicine at once. The person who made the medicine, on the other hand, you know, like for example, right now we have those vaccines, those COVID vaccinations, right? So it's like Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or Moderna, right? The person who made the medicine is Amida Buddha. Right? In other words, Amida Buddha established and provides the Nembutsu, which becomes the medicine that will resolve our illness of suffering from our blind passions. But the person who has to decide to actually drink the medicine is you. If you don't believe what your doctor tells you, if you don't believe in the efficacy of the medicine, right, you aren't going to take it, right? The Buddha is not going to force the medicine down your throat. It is something that you have to come to on your own. Right? So many people in this world believe that religion is a bunch of baloney, right? Many people will look at religion and say that it is the opiate for the masses, or that it is an outdated belief system that no longer applies to today's time, today's needs, or today's concerns. Buddhism is no exception. It receives the same criticism, especially with all these different kinds of, rituals, like it's the ornate rituals, right? The robes and all these things, right? And the fact that we aren't able to provide anything that gives newcomers any kind of instant gratification, right? Something that we need as people of low attention span nowadays. It is very hard to stay interested and want to come to Buddhism every Sunday and hear its teachings, right? I know, I understand. I used to be one of these people too myself. But for those who feel the symptoms, for those who see the real existential problems they are experiencing, Buddhism offers a great source of solace and peace. When one decides to take the medicine to cure one's illness, one trusts in the advice of the doctor and the efficacy of the medicine. In the same way, the Buddha teaches us about the medicine of the Nembutsu, and this teaching resolves the problem of our suffering. And I'm not talking about suffering like I can't pay off my college loans, or I want to be rich someday, or I broke my leg, and I want the pain to go away, right? I'm talking about a very specific kind of suffering, right? Which is the existential crisis. In other words, one's own mortality, one's own death. And when we decide to take in the medicine of the Nembutsu, and we have firm reliance on the doctor's words and the efficacy of the medicine, that is what we call shinji, or true entrustment. When we entrust ourselves to the efficacy of the Buddha Dharma, we let go of ourselves and rely wholly on the Buddha's great compassion. The Nembutsu is what balances our unbalanced lives. We are constantly led astray by blind passions, but it is the Nembutsu teaching, Amida Buddha's great compassion, in other words, tariki, that helps to ground us here and now. Best of all, we have testimony and we have role models who came before us, who show us the way on the Nembutsu path. Lady Takeko Kujo-sama and Lady Yoshiko Otani-sama show us the path to take. Their legacy is still alive and here with us today. How do I know this? Because they dedicated their lives to the Nembutsu teaching. Their lives serve as an inspiration for us to follow their lead. They show us how women have taken on significant roles as people who have worked to spread Amida Buddha's teaching of great compassion. With these figures in mind, I would like to reflect on the Buddha Dharma and place my hands in Gassho to Amida Buddha's infinite wisdom and compassion. And with that, I would like to end today. Thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho. Shariputra, it is because if good men or women hear the name of Amida expounded by the various Buddhas and the name of this sutra, then those good men or women will be protected by all the Buddhas and dwell in the stage of non-retrogression for attaining the supreme, perfect enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.